Oh boy, trains are still around. We have more Blitzclique action, and we have Doomz as well. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. So let's talk about the world of trains right now. Now, this is something that Sonny posted on his channel, and I love always just kind of watching the crazy ideas that train players are going to cook up, because the reality of the situation with this deck is, you know, you have you're just like, throw out a bunch of big dudes on the field, which honestly is just, you know, ping your opponent for 2k, you know, slam on into like the other half of the big stuff here. You know, we've also got the Gustav rocket as well. There's a lot of, in my opinion, big, just bully machines that kind of go to town. Obviously, this is I think the deck that you look at when you're just like, oh yeah, this is the definition of rock'em sock'em robots. You know, just big guy, pressure, pressure, pressure. Congratulations, you know, you've done what you needed to do. Now, in terms of what you're doing, yes, this is the degenerate FTK. You're just looking to, you know, loop down Gustav Maxes, kind of go to town and be able to loop through. If it ends up not happening, then, you know, you kind of have battle phase runovers, and you kind of just set them and go from there. I do like the fact, I see we're playing the Sky Striker Spectre here as well. That's kind of an interesting little tech choice in here, but once again, it's trains, man. Your goal is to set up extremely large bodies, go to town. I also do like, we're also playing only 2 urgent schedule in this. I mean, exceptional schedule is the card you have to find. If you find exceptional schedule, then congratulations, your entire deck just effectively turns on, and you're basically able to go through basically the entirety of the combo lines that you need to go for with this deck, which I think works out very, very good. Also do see we have a interesting spread of sub-mulch armies down here as well to cover our ground, and we've also got the Barrage Blast in the side deck as like a pull-up option if we need to kind of cover our bases. So not too bad. Next up here we have Blitzclique action. Now, I've been trying to follow as much Blitzclique technology as I can try to find right now, because right now Blitzclique has been picking up a lot of popularity. Like, honestly, I think this is probably the biggest meta wake-up that I have seen in a hot second with things, just because I think players started to realize, oh, hey, you know, Blitzclique actually is not a terrible choice. It's bad depending on the tech choices that you slot into the deck. I think we can all kind of agree with that. But in terms of what we've got going on here, you are playing Shifter in the main deck is just kind of that power card that you need to call up to disrupt the opponent, which I think does work out. Honestly, I've been seeing lists kind of thumbing through, deciding if they want to play this, which is kind of an interesting choice, to say the least. Of course, you're maximizing on like big numbers. ME is a one of in this list, which I guess you can make the argument if you want to play 2 to 3, it works out. It's kind of a dead draw at certain points. So, you know, you gotta manage that. I also do see we are playing 2 copies of Alternator, side decking the Return Stroke, which I guess is fine. I do like Return Stroke in the main deck, honestly, but I can understand why they want to go with it. Also, only 2 TFAF feels very, very weird in this deck. I feel like, considering the fact, you know, looking down here at your extra deck for the tools you just kind of got to throw at your opponent, I feel like you can kind of slot in the 3 just to, you want to see it. You know, it's usually why you choose to play these numbers in larger quantities, is to actually make sure that, you know, oh, hey, I can see this tech choice, so they can actually, you know, put the game more in my control when it actually does come up. And if we're not dedicating towards that, feels a little bit weird to me. Next up here, we get to see the Doomz, and this is something that we've been seeing in a lot more of these lists. Spell Canceller is becoming more and more of a problem card as time is going on, and it's kind of crazy to me that this card is just now really picking up the steam to be problematic. But it's because all of these decks are just able to quartet and bloom back whatever that they need to see off of this. Now, the big thing here is this list is not playing the, you know, Xena Twins. They get to do the funnier method of finding the Spell Canceller. they get to do Mercurium, which actually puts it into rotation underneath the stupid thing as a material. Yes, we're at the stage now that Mercurium is being the suck-up target. Because right now your choices are, do we go Xena Twins, dump it, and then, attempt to revive it, or do we just go Mercurium, on the 2-level 10s, and then just detach it? Congratulations, we got it in rotation. That's exactly where we're at right now. Kind of bullshit, honestly, but, this is the era we live in. In terms of the rest of the deck, you're playing one Medius, the Pure. I think that this is fine. You don't really have any use to go too much crazier in this. It's also one of the earliest lists I've seen actually playing Shade the Obscure. At least in terms of this deck. Actually, I think Shade's probably a decent choice in this deck, considering, how much of the pendulum coverage you actually do have. Of course, I see we are bringing in Nerva, Genora, and of course the Jupiter as well. So you kind of got the whole squadron of Ugus to kind of come to town here and assist you with trying to play the game. But I think this is a pretty good benchmark as to why this deck is as good as it is. Yeah, it's totally not this card or anything. We totally have not figured out a new problem card that needs to absolutely get out of the game or anything. Babaka. Alright, next up here, we have probably one of the more down-to-the-ground Sacred Beast lists that I've seen. We are not playing Card of the Soul in this list. Not saying that Card of the Soul is suddenly bad. I'm just saying that people have different opinions on how to play this deck, which is fine. This list is actually playing a Fiendsmith package in it, which, honestly, looking at the way that these lists have been recently, I've been noticing more and more players have been gravitating towards wanting to build in the Fiendsmith package. I think it's just because it gives the deck, like, if you want my honest opinion, getting to do the Lacrima ping in the mirror match is kind of funny, because then they can't Card of the Soul. Sorry. Just little things for 500. Obviously, being able to get a Desiree up on the field next to whatever end board that you're aiming for, it's going to be good. Also, triple Thunder Dragon Colossus. Is that a I guess. If this deck is able to roll out, Colossus on Colossus, okay. So we're also playing the M7 in here. That's interesting. There's some very interesting little tech slots in this deck that you can kind of see. But obviously, Wave King Kaiser's probably still going to be one of your strongest pieces. Reproducus is just kind of an absolute scumbag in this deck. He's doing more than he actually should be. He's putting more of that pressure on things, and his job is to be the master manipulator of types. And he does it very, very, very well. Outside of that, we have Santa Claus for disruptions. I also see that we are side decking the second field spell. Honestly, the fact that they're getting away with only playing one field spell is entirely crazy to me as it is, because honestly, the more I've seen this deck kind of touch off and go, I always feel like you want the second field spell. But I guess it's only really provided if, the opponent's able to SP rip this thing off of the field. And, granted, I don't really feel like that happens quite as much as you would initially think anymore. And our last list here is some Blue Eyes White Dragon technology. Honestly, congratulations to still performing with Blue Eyes White Dragon. Alright, that's already a crazy feat in and of itself within the existing metagame, but to still see that, this is actually still happening is incredibly useful. I do see we are still playing the Ultimate Fusion to be able to fuse, which is kind of nice. We've also got only 2 wishes, which is good. Side deck, we've got the double copies of Dragon's Mind. I see we've also got Majesty with the White Dragons as a side deck target, but we're also bringing in the Ultimate Creature of Destruction as well. Interesting to see this doing its thing. But we also have Typhoons in here to kind of clear off control cards from the opponent. I think this is one of the first TCG variations I've seen that is actually considering Typhoon as a side deck card. This is something that we've seen the OCG doing, but the fact that the TCG is doing this is kind of interesting. Alright, but, the reality of the situation here is Blue Eyes is not a super strong deck. If you're going to play this, it's going to be in, Deep Rogue, and even at that case, you're going to have one of the biggest uphill battles that you could ever expect to have with a deck like this, just trying to overcome the meta. And it's a little bit unfortunate, but it's just, that's the reality right now. You can still play it, it's just, it's going to be a tough one. So what do you guys think about everything today? Some interesting decks for sure. So please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. And I will see your beautiful faces back here later on in the day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.